So in the passage that we read today, as I was reading through it, I remember it has a couple of the verses that were some of my favorite verses as a kid. And that's for a couple of reasons. One, the church that I grew up in, they were really big on kids memorizing Bible verses and getting prizes and stuff. And I'm a person who has always been motivated by candy, so I was really into that. And if you're ever looking for a good Bible verse to memorize, John 11:35 is where you want to go. It is the shortest verse in the Bible. It's only 2 words, Jesus wept. And the other verse I always thought was great is just a few verses later, when Lazarus is dead and he's like, let's, open up the tomb. In the old King James Version of the Bible, the way it says it is like, Lord, why do you want us to open up the tomb? He stinketh. And I always just thought it was really funny that the Bible said he stinketh. But it's interesting when you put those two things together, one of the things that you really do see is that Jesus, when he came into our world, he came into our real world. I mean, he came into a world where dead bodies stinketh. And he came into a world where he experienced the full depth of human emotions, so that when a friend who was really close to him passed away and he realized he was gone, he responded the same way that we do, by weeping. And that's one of the things that I so appreciate about the fact that in the person of Jesus, God came into our world, right? He knows what we've gone through. In fact, that's a point that the author of Hebrews makes later when he's writing a letter about how Jesus is our high priest. He says this. He says, since then we have a great high priest who's entered heaven, Jesus, the Son of God. Let's hold firmly to what we believe. Then he goes on to say that Jesus understands our weaknesses, for he faced all the same testings that we do, yet he did not sin. Right? He's talking about temptations and how we resist temptations in this passage. But the larger idea is that Jesus experienced what we experience. There is nothing that we have gone through or are going through or will go through that Jesus does not understand, because he walked in our shoes and he lived that out. And that has some real implications for us. And the author of Hebrews goes on to give what that is. It says, because of this, he says, let us come boldly to the throne of our gracious God. There we will receive his mercy, and we will find grace to help us when we need it most. So hopefully that's an encouragement for you today as you think about these anxious times that we're living in, both the physical things that we experience, right? That can be hunger or thirst, or even just the physical tension that comes with anxiety. That's not foreign to Jesus. He understands that. And all of the emotions, the worries, the fears, the joys, everything that we experience, he knows that too. So there's not anything in our experience that we cannot bring to Jesus and ask him to help us with. So wherever you are today, maybe that's just what you can be praying about, that you can stop and think about what you're feeling physically right now, what you're feeling emotionally right now, and then just help Jesus to be in that with you and help transform that into something that can help you connect with God, because that's what the role of the priest was, right? To stand in between people and God. And that's what Jesus does for us. He meets us right where we are and helps us connect with the love and the forgiveness and the grace and the power of God that we need. So my hope is that that can be your experience today.